Hey everyone, what's going on? Rob here, and today is the day. The long-awaited Valheim content patch Hearth and Home has officially dropped as of today. I just finished the download. I'm excited to drop in and see what it is. I'm going to talk to you today about what I saw in the patch notes, what you can expect from this upcoming content patch, and there is a lot of stuff. It's a lot of quality of life stuff, a lot of combat changes, and a lot of just things that we've been wanting for a long time. So let's go ahead and get started, and if you like this content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, let's go. First things first, the weapons and the blocking system have been overhauled. Now for the weapons, there have been a lot of tweaks, but they tried to make it so that all of the weapons were viable and that it was less of this item is better than this other weapon across the board, and more of certain items would excel in certain environments. They would be better against specific enemies, and it would be much more situational. So you might be incentivized to have multiple weapons. For example, the two-handed axe was buffed. It will now be an excellent weapon to repeatedly stagger enemies, especially weaker enemies, if that's the kind of playstyle that you want. Now, the blocking system was also overhauled. There will be light shields, kind of medium shields, heavier shields. You can choose between a more tanky playstyle, a parry playstyle, or a more balanced playstyle. These changes really, they're just kind of diversifying the type of combat styles that you can have. That was one of the big themes of this patch. It's that they want you to be able to feel like you're almost like a class. Like, you know how other video games have classes that all have their specific roles and talents? That is more of where we're going based on your weapon picks and your blocking picks. I've already put out a couple videos fully going in depth into those changes. I will make sure to put that in the description below. So if you want more information on that, go to the description below. They've also made some changes to Taming, a big quality of life change being that you can now no longer hurt your tamed creatures unless you have the friendly fire setting on. Accidentally hurting your tamed creatures was annoying. Now that will no longer be a problem. They will also be introducing a new butcher knife item, which this will be a way that you can actually kill your tamed creatures. So when you want to harvest them for meat, hides, etc., you will need to be using this butcher knife to do so, assuming you don't have the friendly fire on. Now, you can also name your creatures, which I think is a cool little addition. You can kind of keep track of stuff, maybe separate whose tamed creatures are what, maybe have pets that feel much more like pets. Kind of a fun quality of life thing. Interestingly enough, they added in the patch notes that tamed locks now have a purpose, and they did not explain what this was, but they kind of hinted at this, so I think that there's a secret about the locks. I haven't had a chance to test that yet, but I'm going to look into that. If you know what it is, put that down in the comment section below so I can find out. But I'm excited that their patch notes aren't going to reveal everything. There'll still be a little bit of mystery in the game. And speaking of that mystery, they have also said slimy locations and creatures added to the plains. So they did change up the plains a little bit. I have not had a chance to investigate what that means either. Again, very happy that some of this stuff is kind of a surprise where they didn't tell us much about this. So I like that. I like that it kind of incentivizes you to explore and find out what's going on. Once I figure out what these changes are, I'll be sure to make a video letting you all know. The food system has also been reworked. This, again, is a system that I fully explained in a different video, and that will be in the description below. But essentially, food items will now be a choice between whether you want to focus on stamina, which will make you much better at offense, much better with bows, etc., or if you want to focus on health. Health will be much better for being a tankier role and will also affect your blocking and your shields. The food graphic, basically user interface that you look at, has been overhauled, as will, I believe they added another meter to let you know when you're about to be staggered. They've added 12 new food items, and they again will focus on specific things, whether you want to play offensively or defensively. Now, given these changes, you might say, well, I don't want to be locked into this. I don't want to be locked into a tank spec for 20 minutes until the food goes away. Thankfully, they have added an item that will allow you to puke. I believe they're called buke berries, I think it said. And it will puke up your food items, returning you to your base stats. So make sure you don't do this if you're in a dangerous area. And you will then be able to apply new food to take on whatever role you want, whether that's an offensive-based role or a defensive tank-based role. There are some cool new items to talk about as well. First of all, new plantable seeds. So birch, oak, and onions for cooking. Those are some things that we've wanted for a while. You will now be able to plant those trees and plant those onions, which will be used in recipes. Crystal now has a use that's from the golems in the mountain biome. You'll be able to make the crystal battle axe, or at least I assume. I have not proven this yet, but I believe that is what the crystal will be used for, as well as a silver knife. They've added a bone tower shield and an iron buckler to kind of round out the shield set and make sure that these different types of shields will be available at all levels. The butcher knife, we've already discussed, special for butchering tamed animals. And interestingly enough, an item called the Thunderstone, which will be sold by the trader. You will want to find the trader so that you can get this item. It will cost only 50 gold. This item will be necessary to build a new thing called the Obliterator. Now, currently, all that we know about the Obliterator is that it is the first way implemented into the game where you can permanently delete items. It also supposedly returns things. People have had coal given back as a result. That'll be interesting. We'll research a little bit more into that, but you can now officially delete items by using this Obliterator via the Thunderstone, which is sold by the trader. We have an unknown locks accessory, and we will have all types of new building and furnitures. The dark wood will be the new building materials. It will be a much kind of darker thatch style of building, which will be very cool. And apparently you can now make a stone throne as well as a Viking hot tub. Why did you need a Viking hot tub? I don't know, but you now have it. Crystal walls, another use for crystals, which I assume will be stronger than wood and possibly stronger than iron. We'll report back on that when we know. As we've discussed before, new treasure where you can stack your gold and your resources in special chests. There will also be cauldron improvements such as spike rack, butcher's table, pots, and pans. These improvements will allow you to create the new food items, the 12 new items that have come out, and basically allow you to advance your cooking. So cooking previously, you didn't really have to make these upgrades. You could just cook everything once you had your cauldron. Now, just like other workstations, you will need to make these upgrades, which means that if you have outposts or secondary bases or camps, you will also need to put these upgrades there. You can't just get a basic cauldron and make all the food you need at your other outposts. This shouldn't be much of a problem considering portals do still exist in the game, but just something to note. An oven has also been added, as you will now need to bake the bread and the pie, so that's just a cool thematic thing. I like that. And finally, the iron cooking station, which will be used to cook some types of meat. So Hearth and Home, very cool so far. It adds a lot of things that we had wanted. It adds a lot of new types of things for building designs as well as weaponry choices. I like the revamped combat system. I think that this is a really good first content patch. I think it's interesting. It's exciting. I think it overall makes the game better. And I hope now that they just focus their efforts on kind of completing the progression of the game. I like that they're rounding out the plains, they're rounding out the mountain biome and kind of finishing those biomes. I'm excited to see what they have for the Mistlands and the biomes beyond. I hope we get them soon. Mistlands, they do expect to have in 2021, so this year, presumably probably by late December, I would guess, based on the current timetable. But I'm excited to see new biomes. This is a cool patch. I'm going to put some work in, see what I can learn about all of these new things and some of the secrets they added that are not in the patch notes. And I'll be sure to make more videos about that. As always, if you like this video, if you like learning about the patch notes, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.